welcome everyone to our another Fireside chat for Harvard College Project for Asian and International Relations. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Dr. William Ting. So now for those who are not familiar with him, allow me to play a short video of his introduction to let you guys know more about him.
Soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Show
Okay, thank you for everyone to finish the video. So welcome Dr. Tim to our Fireside Chat. My name is Brandy, the moderator today. So first of all, we will have a rapid questions for the icebreaker to warm up our conversations. So every delegate, you have watched the video before, right? So we know that Dr. Tan, you have been studying in different places and running marathon in different countries, and those have enabled you to travel to many countries, right? So what is your favorite country in the world that you visit and why?
First and foremost, hi Brandy, hi everybody. It's such an honor to be with all of you. Yes, what a powerful song. You raised me up. I think my heartbeat has been raised really high. Getting a fast heartbeat while I'm sharing with you. 7 continents, there's a number of places I've been to, a lot of places. Even been to Pyongyang, North Korea for a marathon as well. So I must say that I had a late start. I only started my first flight out of Singapore at the age of 27 years old to Palmerston North in New Zealand to do my master's degree, after which is history. I just love the traveling for studying and also for racing marathons. And I would say that United States is my favorite country. The reason being, I realized and I experienced it as a land of opportunities. After my PhD, I was given the opportunity to work at the Mayo Clinic as a research fellow in neurosurgery. And I blossomed academically, and it inspired me to apply to medical school to study medicine, to be a physician. So from PhD scientist to become a physician. And I also blossomed when I was studying postgraduate medicine at Harvard University, competing in the Boston Marathon 7 times when I was there. And I would say that I became really much more passionate and competent in my marathon racing. And it is on my bucket list to complete marathon in every of the 50 states of USA. I would say that I have very fond memories of many countries that I've been to as well. India, China, Taiwan, many Asian countries as well. It's a pity I don't have much opportunity to further my understanding of the culture and the sightseeing. Well, after COVID, I certainly want to make up for the lost time.
Thank you, Dr. Tin. Seems like you went to a lot of countries, especially like and Americans. You have been running marathons for many times, right? So for our next question is, if you have to pick one book that influenced you, either your worldview or your personal growth the most, like which would you choose? And any other special book recommendations for the audience?
There's one book that has in some ways transformed my mindset. The title is What Makes a Champion by Professor Alan Snyder from the University of Sydney. He's a neuroscientist as well, very accomplished. And the part about the book is I realized that the way he looked at champion is very enlightening. It's not champion in the strict sense of being an athlete winning medals, but being a champion in the sense that in the way we can embrace the mind and thinking of a champion, not about winning medals, but winning in life. So he coined the word champion mindset. And very often it goes through my mind when I encounter adversity that, hey, William, it's not just being an athlete, a wheelchair athlete, but in other aspects of my life, I need to implement, execute this form of champion mindset. And I find this really helpful in the aspect of building up resilience and tenacity, because a champion goes through not just success and not just winning medals, but also quite a lot of setbacks in life. So it is those champion mindset that reminds us that we got to get up. We may have fallen down on the track, we may have a crash on the athletic track, but get up and stand up tall again and move on. So What Makes a Champion by Professor Alan Snyder.
Okay, thank you. So on average, like how many meetings, speeches, works do you have in a year? I know you have like works to do, and also you're running marathon right now, and I mean not now, but like for long times, and also you need times to practice, right? And also you have like a lot of like inspiring speeches. So like how do you balance that, like those kind of meeting, like works and practice in order to spend your time with the family?
Well, I must say that it really is pretty fulfilling, having so many things that I have to attend to. Um, and it makes a very hectic day for me, but I have no complaints because I really enjoy all these things I'm doing, whether it be seeing patients in the clinic, fighting COVID-19 at the moment, traveling for inspirational speakers that London Speaker Bureau has found for me, and also coaching the kids in terms of life skills. So whatever time I have for my family, I must say that I make the best of it. I do dedicate Sunday to family, visiting my 98-year-old mother. My dad has passed on, but I have other siblings. I have 6 others, brothers and sisters, and it is really refreshing, and it really helped me to understand what is the real meaning behind what I'm doing. And it adds a lot of meaning to it, whether be doing a marathon. I'm doing the marathon in memory of my elder sister who passed away of breast cancer, in memory of my second sister who has breast cancer as well. So the family time plus the things I do, they are synergistic. And we keep in close touch in whatever technology that we have, whether it be Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, Telegram, whatever technology, we make the best of it. So I would say that um, in a way, it is important to have this fulfilling, holistic outlook in encompassing everything that we can in our life.
Okay, thank you. So now we have like those are the icebreaker questions for till now, and now we will have the main questions to go deeper into how Dr. William thinks and his life story. So Dr. Ting, like you have always been an optimistic and encourage people from many speeches. However, there's definitely like both bright side and the shadow in the person. Like they live together to become the person who we are right now. And when is your deepest time, or did you face any particular challenges or frustrations? And how did you overcome this kind of challenges and frustrations? And because in some way you are having a more challenging life than others, right? And so how did you conquer it?
Yeah, thank you. This is really a very important question because many people would look at me and say, "Oh, Dr. William, have achieved this much. We really wanted to understand what kept the marathon man going." And I must say that it's very healthy because I would like people to see me as someone who is mere human. I have gone through a lot, and I must say that there have been many setbacks in my life as well before I attain this level of achievement in my life. So what is to rank as the hardest one? I would say that when I finished in senior high school, and I had this ambition since the age of 10, wanting to be a medical doctor. So I went through schooling life with this goal in mind, this purpose that I will give my very best and attain academic excellence. And the time came for the application to the university, to medical school. And believe it or not, I was interviewed, and I was told that it is just not suitable to study medicine for a person on the wheelchair. So I was devastated, and I was being offered a science course of study. So, I have a strong passion for medicine. So to me, that was quite a devastating answer for me. And I recall crying to mom and dad and say, I got rejected. And it was very hard for me to accept because all those years I put in, I felt I was entitled to enter medical school. Why not? And I have not faced rejection because I take charge of my studies. I take charge of how I go about. But this time around, the decision is not by on me. Decision is by a higher authority. So I felt really helpless. I felt lost because someone is controlling my destiny and I can't do what I want to do. But mom and dad shared with me something really important. It was about William, our boy, maximize, make the best of the opportunities that you're given. Science degree? Yes, why not? Go for your science degree. And it will be your platform. It will be your stepping stone. And one last word from them was, even though it's not your best choice, maybe it's your third choice. Second choice was dentistry. They didn't even give me dentistry. The third choice, but give your best. So with these words from my parents, I became energized and I went to study science. And I did my best as what mom and dad advised. So I got my first class honors in physiology. And from then on, I realized that it is time to give back. So I spent the rest of the time working with the government as a civil servant and save money to help my other 6 siblings finish their education. And then I went for my postgraduate studies, remembering that these were all stepping stone. So a very big blow in my life, being rejected from medical school, became a stepping stone.
Wow, seems like your family plays a pivotal role in your life's journey, right? I think like what your parents told you have a a familiar framework with what Jim Carrey once say. Carrey once say in one of his speech say, in our life journey we will have 2 choices, love and fear. But choose love and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart. I think this sentence having this familiar framework with what your mother say, like not only what you say before, but also in like other seminar, your parents are not going to take the easy way, right? They are going to give you love and mature you to assist you to maximize your potential in spite of your disability. So do you consider your parents are the people who affects you the most and those people who propel you to become who you are today? Or is there like any other special person to use that makes you become who you are today?
In the 1960s, the thinking among many people is that, wow, a child with disability. Now what good can come out of a handicapped child? So when mom and dad look at me, a little boy, it's only 2 years old, with poliomyelitis, paralyzed from the waist down. Well, all these people say what good can come out of the handicapped child. It is very disturbing for the young couple, mom and dad. Very hard decision. And the hospitals have actually provided an approach where parents can get a referral to send the kids to orphanages. So that was in the early 1960s. Many parents were doing that. But mom and dad, they told me when I was a lot older that they would not want to take the easy way out. They felt they need to take ownership of that harsh circumstances. Not much support from anybody else in those days. The harsh reality that William would never walk again and he would become a burden to us. But no matter what, they decided they take ownership. They will bring me up because they have a strong belief that this little boy has the potential like everybody else. We will help him to develop the potential. He may be paralyzed from the waist down, but he's not. His arms and his brain are not paralyzed. So that was mom and dad's thinking that time. And I really, in retrospect, very grateful to them, because if not for them, I would be at the orphanages, and I may have missed out on a lot of opportunity in life being placed in orphanages. But I'm very grateful to them and their constant nurturing of me, maximizing education for me. They recognize that education is the key to help William, that education is going to transform William. Along the way in my life, I would say that there were teachers. There were teachers in my schools who were also very nurturing as well. They play a very important part in my life as well. So I would say that together, my parents plus the teachers and some of the very wonderful well-wishers in life and benefactors and the foundation has made a huge difference, granting me scholarships. So that maybe selling fried bananas in a push cart along the street, couldn't pay for my tuition fees to go to Raffles Institution. Raffles Institution is the top school in Singapore, and it's not cheap to go to a top school to study. So I was very blessed with scholarship. And to all these organizations, I say that they have played a very big part in my life as well.
Wow, seems like your family really support you a lot and underpin you in many different ways and give you a lot of loves in your life. Okay, so now we're moving on to your marathon career and your story. So I would like to ask, when is the moment, and is there any particular things or thoughts that trigger you to want to become the first person in the world to accomplish the Antarctica Marathon in wheelchair?
It's very interesting because in 2004, when I finished my final exam in medical school, I wanted to have a short holiday. So I went on a cruise. And this cruise actually takes me from Sydney to Tasmania. And on the ship, I was looking around and I saw a lot of stories about Shackleton. Shackleton, the late Shackleton, wanted to be the first man to go to Antarctica, to go to the South Pole. And he had setbacks because when he was only 100 miles from the South Pole, he realized that he don't have enough food for his men and himself to go back to the ship. So he told his men, I think we have to abort the mission. We will not reach South Pole. We will head back to the ship and come back another time. But the other members of the team, they were all very angry. They protested. And here lies Shackleton, the captain of the team. And it's amazing how Captain Shackleton was able to help his men understand what is more important at hand. South Pole and die there, or head back to the ship and come back the second time. So the term has been coined successful failure. It is a failure. They never reached the South Pole. They went back to the British Empire. When I read about the story, I was so inspired that, hey, how about a marathon in the South Pole? And it came to my mind, let's do some research and find out who has done it before. I discovered that there were runners who have done it before on a biannual basis. So there are organizers in Ireland and Boston that does such a trip. And I was so excited. So I did more research and I realized nobody has ever done it in a wheelchair. Oh boy, that will be my blue ocean. And it just dawned on me that that is an opportunity. So that's how it came about.
Wow, seems like I like being the first person to accomplish like a marathon, especially in wheelchair, that would be like really cool, right? And also, like you mentioned, you wanted to accept the defeat. Instead, you wanted to try like another time, twice, and a third time, right? So I note that you made a world record on this Antarctica marathon with wheelchair, right? After 3 times of attempts. And I do think when people are having like facing like those challenges, right? It was initiate of physical challenges. However, it will gradually transfer into a more mental challenges because when we are facing challenges, it was at first like a barrier in front of us or something that we couldn't cross over, right? But after times that it would transfer into a more like a mental challenges for us that the inner part of us are trying to deny ourselves, which I think this is the hinder that stop us from keeping forward, right? So how do you fight against your mental part of like this kind of challenge, especially having twice failure? I mean, having third time those challenges, I think there was like a really challenging things for me. I don't think like if I after like 2 times of failure, I wouldn't have the courage to start it again.
So when I decided on the ship to Tasmania, I would do the marathon in Antarctica, I was really excited. Never did I realize that the terrain in Antarctica can be so hard for a person on a wheelchair. No wonder nobody has done it before. So I actually wrote to the organizer, Tom Gilligan in Boston. He's the organizer of the Antarctica Marathon. And Tom told me, William, you can't do it. It's impossible. You're crazy. Nobody has ever applied to me to do that. There's part of the route that is an icy glacier, and it's so slippery, and it's on the slope. And if you go that, if we allow you to participate, it can become a liability for us. But like every one of us, we have ideas. We are so idealistic about it. We have this compelling desire, and we want to break all the barriers. So you know what happened? I wrote to Tom and appealed to him and asked him for a second chance, and I waited for his answer. He called me one day and he says, William, I give you this opportunity because my wife says so. And I was quite curious, why have I met your wife before? He said no. Then I didn't ask any further. I didn't actually get that answer until when I was on my first trip there to Antarctica. And when we were having our little session at dinner, there he told me the story. William, my wife said allow you to take part because she Googled you. And she discovered that you were a student at Harvard and that you did the Boston Marathon to raise money for Children's Hospital Boston. And guess what happened? The wife is a nurse at Children's Hospital Boston. So she remembered me raising money for Children's Hospital Boston, and she told the husband, Tom, better let this man enter the Antarctica Marathon. Wow. See, the world is so connected, isn't it? So amazing. But I must say that it was really hard. I failed my first Antarctica Marathon. My racing wheelchair fell apart. My racing wheelchair is so light. It's made of aircraft material. It just couldn't withstand the harsh temperature of Antarctica. So it was a very it was a big disappointment. I went back to work as a doctor, and I wanted to give it a second go because I knew the problem was the wheelchair. So I had someone to build for me a stronger chair, and 3 years later, I went back to Antarctica. This time the chair is stronger. Oh, William, you sure succeed. And guess what happened? Before I could even finish my half marathon, there was a snow blizzard. I couldn't even see where I was going. There was so much snow. And by the time the snow blizzard was over, it was also time for Tom to call everybody to go back to the ship. I'm like Shackleton, almost there, but can't be there. So I have to go back to the ship. I told Tom, please allow me a few more hours. And Tom said, no, it's too dangerous. You'll be frozen to death. And he reminded me of the story of Shackleton, successful failure. You can come back the third time. So it is a lot of self-reflection. I don't want to give up. I looked through and I say, what was missing? And I realized that one of the things that came up to my mind is that I have not much of acclimatization. I'm from Singapore, a tropical weather, going to Antarctica. I'm just not prepared. I've not trained adequately. So I decided to go to the North Pole. And I went to North Pole to acclimatize. And it was really very helpful. It was the right thing to do, acclimatizing at North Pole. I gained so much confidence after North Pole, and I made my third attempt. My third attempt, I succeeded and became the first man to accomplish the marathon in Antarctica and be the first, and also set the new world record for marathons on every continent in 27 days.
Wow. It seems like you have a lot of people supporting you during your journey, right? Especially your marathon journey, your life's journey. So I truly believe like without confidence, it's really hard for us to keep on doing like the right things, right? So I mean, mostly we really need the confidence to encourage us from what we are doing right now. And these are kind of like the motivations to propelling us from moving forward. So thus, without this initiate success, I mean, not only the support from others are the confidence, but also the success that we get is also the confidence to us. So without the initiates, as said, it's hard for us to build out the comfort zone that we are in and to determine what we should do, insist on, and what we are doing. So what is the very first win that you made you confidence that you are doing the right things? I mean, in the marathon area.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you that we can get all the support that we have. Tom and the team, they were supporters. They took care of us when we're doing the race. But I also recognize that at the end of the day, it's so important that we also have to play our part as individuals. You know, there's an English saying that says, you can bring a horse to the water, but the horse refuses to drink. So the water is provided, the horse is thirsty, but you bring the horse to the water and hey, horse, drink it. But the horse refuses to drink. So in my many opportunities to work with young people from the schools, I realized that very often there's a certain inertia, the inertia that I recognize it was also within me when I went through my life journey. That is the inertia because we love the comfort zone. I love the comfort zone too. And I think it's so important to be able to tell ourselves that how hungry we are. How hungry? I'm hungry to accomplish the Antarctica Marathon and the 7 continents world record. I'm hungry to go and study medicine. So the question is how hungry we are. And there's a decision to make, the choices to make. And I choose to get out of my comfort zone. My first win, I would say that gave me the confidence when in 1980, I approached my late coach, Mr. Baba. I say, Coach Baba, all these years you've been training me to do athletics, 100, 200 meter, 400 meter on the track. I want to go to do the marathons. And during that time, Singapore was hosting its 3rd marathon. We have a young history in Singapore, so only the 3rd marathon. I was excited. It's marathon, 42 kilometer, 26.2 miles. I went to tell late Wahid Baba and say, Coach, I want to do it. He says, no, William, it's just too much for you. Remember, you have to add a few zeros. And Coach Baba said no to me. I was really disappointed because I believe that I can do it. And I think self-belief is so important for any kind of undertaking. So I waited for an opportunity when Coach Baba was in a better mood. And I went back to him and say, Coach, and I know what you're going to ask me. And he says, William, I give you my blessing, but don't use my wheelchair. You see, all these years I've been using his wheelchair, whether training on the track or for small competition in Singapore. He says, no, I need my wheelchair. So I was so excited. He gave his blessing. I decided I'll borrow a wheelchair from the hospital. So I have my wheelchair. But I must tell you, during the marathon, the wheelchair didn't go straight at all. It was good at going left, right, but hardly going the center. It's more like a supermarket trolley. And I had a hard time. I finished the marathon in 4 hours. And Coach Baba was so excited. He says, William, you did it. Well, you have really changed my mind about marathons for disabled people. So the following year, he sent everybody on wheelchairs for the marathon. And I think that success at that first marathon in 1980 really gave me so much confidence that the rest is history. I started to dream bigger and bigger and bigger. I was doing marathons everywhere around the world. And then it eventuated in the Antarctica Marathon, North Pole Marathon, 7 Continents Marathon. And as I was sharing earlier, I still have about more marathons to do. It's on my bucket list to do a marathon in every of the 50 states in America.
Wow. So you mentioned about to believe in yourself. It's kind of like the essential elements you have to, right? Like no matter what others support you, but the most important part is you, right? Is to believe in yourself because you think you can do it, right? So you never, no matter what others told you, say, no, you can't do it, but you still insist that you can do it, right? So, I mean, at things for everyone. There are things for a person, which means freedoms, mean independence to them. I mean, in this circumstances, it means if you are independent, you can believe in yourself to do things, right? You don't need to rely on anyone. So I think there's always something for persons to believe like this is a significant symbolize of freedoms or independence. Like, for example, some people regarded driving lessons as their symbol of freedom, because as long as they have the driving lessons, as long as they have a car, if they are able to get a car, they can go wherever they want, right? And some people regarded having a legal identity card, which over a certain age means they are independent because they can do whatever they want without the restriction of their parents, right? And some people, like in some country like Japan, in some countries, they have like kind of like a ceremony for a certain year, which called like coming of age ceremony, right? And some people regarded those ceremonies as the symbol of freedom, because after that ceremony, it means they are legally freedom and don't need to be like limited by the parents or whatever, right? So is there anything that symbolize independence to you?
Well, I must say that the word freedom means different meaning to people. And I mean, as you clearly detail out the freedom that different kind of people look at, for myself, as I was sharing that I became paralyzed from the waist down at the age of 2, so I couldn't walk anymore. To me, and to many people, William has lost his freedom because he can't be free. He can't even walk. He's stuck at home. He's stuck crawling around. And where can he go by crawling around for the rest of his life? So to them, indeed, what good can come out of a handicapped child? You don't even have the ability to go out and have freedom and independence. But then what happened was mom and dad look at it differently. He says, we are going to help William. Even though he's paralyzed from the waist down, we're going to get crutches and leg braces for him so that he will be able to learn how to walk with crutches and leg braces. So it took me a lot of months to acquire the ability to walk by myself. And it is really very different from crawling on the floor at that low level to on a standing posture. And that is looking at the world very differently. And indeed, to me, that was freedom. But the greater freedom came when I had my first wheelchair. At the age of 16, I saved enough money with the help of some of my schoolmates. They make some donation to contribute to it, and they add together and bought me a wheelchair from China. Wow, I have my wheelchair, and that is freedom. And I was going all over the place, all over the school campus in a wheelchair. And, you know, I've never experienced speed, the wind blowing against my ear. That is a sense of speed. I have been slow, struggling with crutches and leg braces. So to me, that is freedom. But I think more than that is all of us have inhibitions. And the freedom sometimes we see is very superficial. You know, because of COVID-19, many people feel so confined within themselves. They are quarantined or they are working from home, they're stuck. But more important thing is the freedom of the mind. And we need to be liberated out of these obstacles and hindrance and the walls of our mind. And I think that is ultimate freedom, because we can be in an open place, but we still feel inhibited because we have let all this inhibition come to our mind that we are imprisoned. You know, someone told me when I finished one of my motivational speaking, he says, William, your disability is very visible. And you know what he says? He says, my disability is invisible and it's up here. It's invisible, can't see, but it's up here. And he said to me, it is very dangerous because a disability that you can see, you know how to tackle it, you know how to overcome it. But a disability that is invisible is like invisible enemy, isn't it? But all in all, we all can overcome. We can all defy the odds that come in our way to freedom.
Yes, I truly believe like you transform your challenges into your inner part and transform into your like personal story. Like you those like challenges being invisible because you transform you conquer it, right? So I think there's a sentence I heard before, which say whatever kills you makes you stronger. You agree with this sentence? Because as an inspiring person, you have always kept motivating others to keep on their lives, especially those who don't have the same advantage as I like. And you give hope to those people with limitations and prove that those limitations are not what they think they are, but those people do have a shot to change your life. So do you agree with the sentence, like whatever kills you makes you stronger?
You know, I'm very inspired by many people. There's this, the late Professor Stephen Hawking. He had a very challenging life. At the peak of his life, he was diagnosed that he had a neurological disease. And he was devastated. If you watch the movie, The Theory of Everything, you can sense how devastated Stephen Hawking was. And he went on to become a professor at Cambridge University. And there was something really I remember when I watched this movie that I want to share with you here. He said that however bad life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. While there is life, there is hope. And I think Professor Stephen Hawking had lived through that and demonstrated to us, indeed, no matter how bad life may seem, and with a muscular dystrophy, and still continue to write books and his research into the cosmos space. In my own life, I have grew up to recognize that, hey, it's all part and parcel of our life journey. And I'm mere human, and I will face setbacks in life. And I will face failures in life. I will face rejection in life. Yes, rejection from medical school, rejection from people. I have many relationships that didn't work out because the mother-in-law, my potential mother-in-law, look at me and look at the daughter and ask the daughter, of all the men in the world who can walk, why did you choose William? Rejection, setbacks. But I always believe when one door is closed, another door open. And this door that opens could be a bigger door. And I always believe in turning every setback into a setup. Set us up. Someone setback to set up us up for greater things in life. So I'm happily married with my wife. We don't have any children because I married very late, but we are very happy. My wife understands fully my disability and my aspiration in life and my dreams, and she knows that I have a very big mission in life, and this is a mission, the same mission that I want to take from another movie called the Star Trek. You remember Captain Picard says, "We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity."
Wow. Thank you for these are all the main questions, and now we will get into those delegates questions. So there's one of the students from around the world asking, your story's significance holds and the importance of positive thinking while facing hardships. The pandemic posed a challenge for people to stay hopeful and think positively in face of a conflict the world was facing for the first time. How do you past learning? How did your past learning pave the way for you, and how you deal with this pandemic? What is the new key learning your experience during this pandemic?
Thank you. You know, I've gone through one pandemic that was the polio virus pandemic. And I was too young. I was only 2 years old, and I lost my ability to walk because I became paralyzed from the waist down. So learning from, and I became a medical doctor, and the knowledge, the studies and the skills that I had, I realized during this pandemic, I wanted to put it to good use. And I have been a very strong advocate of vaccination because I missed out on the polio vaccine, as a result of which I succumbed to polio. So I have been a very strong voice among people and among patients that we need to have vaccination against this virus. And I personally have suffered some losses because of the COVID-19 pandemic. My sister-in-law died of COVID-19.
Oh, that's really a sad story. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
But you know, yes. Pardon me. So it was hard actually. She's about my age, and she's wonderful. Esther is wonderful, and but we live in memory of her. We remember the wonderful times together, and we tell ourselves that we want to be very careful, so that we don't actually become a victim to COVID-19. And not only that, we want to take care of ourselves and be safe for the rest of the family as well. And for me, there's a mission. I'm fighting very strongly against this virus, and I do my very best. Recently, I had to go to UK, my wife, because my aunt suffered brain hemorrhage, and it is really difficult to travel during the pandemic. But it was a trip that I had to do to go and see our 79-year-old aunt. So we went through all the testing, inbound, outbound of airports, and we had to go through quarantine as well. I just finished my quarantine, so it is wonderful to say hello to every one of us, because it's very lonely during my quarantine.
Okay, so I'm very sorry to trigger you to think of your some of the people you miss, and I truly believe those memory will become a good memory to think of. So another question, let's change to another a better question instead of like a sad question. So a lot of students was asking they would like to be a neuroscientist one day. So a lot of people were asking like, would you like to share experiences as a neuroscientist and some amazing observation through that profession?
I think my interest in neuroscience stemmed from the part where my own nerves were being destroyed by the virus. Polio is actually a destruction of the anterior horn cells in the spinal cord. It's at the spinal cord level, and there's a group of cells called the anterior horn cells. So I became very interested, and when I was in junior high school, I was reading up medical books. I wanted to know, what is this whole thing about neurology? And the interest grew, and I thought, if I can help to enhance the knowledge of neuroscience or of neurology, it would be very, very meaningful for me. And I found my purpose. The purpose is to help to relieve suffering. And I was very blessed to have gotten my PhD together under the tutorage of a professor who was top in the world in the aspect of pediatric neuroscience. So I learned under Professor Peter Gluckman, who was investigating on asphyxia in children, and how the asphyxia during childbirth give rise to cerebral palsy when they grew up. So I felt it's so meaningful. I've seen people with cerebral palsy. I have friends with cerebral palsy. And if only we could prevent it at the level when the mother was delivering the baby and the umbilical cord do not go around their neck and strangle them. So the research have produced many interesting findings. I published many scientific papers together with Peter Gluckman and his team. And I did my postdoc in the Children's Hospital in New Zealand. And then I was offered this position at the Mayo Clinic and went into neurosurgery. So the field of neurology and neuroscience is very, very wide. And it is reckoned to be the discipline of this whole decade, century, for years to come, because there are many parts of the body we know about it, but the field of science of the brain is still something that is what we call the blue ocean. There's so much to know about it, not just in the anatomical and physiological sense, but the other aspect of the emotions is also involving the brain, behavior. So there are many aspects of neuroscience as well. The cognitive aspect, with people now, there are more and more people who have fallen to dementia, Alzheimer's disease, There's a lot of funding into these areas. So I would say the neuroscience is blessed with a lot of input from scientists, with a lot of funding as well. And funding is a very big thing to carry out research. So there are a lot of funding to support the research as well. So I would say that for the young, interested neuroscientists, well, go for it. Follow your rainbows.
Wow, seems like this is a really interesting jobs. Like you can figure out like different things every day. Well, and okay, so for another question is a student from Hopin. He's asking a medical career is safe to be a challenging experience, which may bring out unwanted changes to health and lifestyle habits. Do you think the medical curriculum should be adjusted?
Thank you. I would say that the medical curriculum has gone through a lot of adjustments over the years. And I think for a curriculum planner and faculties of medical school, there's always been a dilemma. How much do we actually pass on to our students, and how much we want to teach other form of skills or even other discipline like public health? And I would say that COVID-19 pandemic has really brought forth the whole importance of public health and prevention. For too long, public health and prevention has actually been given a very small aspect of the whole curriculum. It's one of the smaller modules in the whole scheme of things, whether we're 4-year MD or 5 years MBBS. And certainly changes will be taking place, in fact, are taking place in terms of public health. Family medicine, for example, is playing a very important part now. Family medicine has become a specialty in many countries. For too long, people look at the GP. Oh, you're a GP. Just a GP. They do not see a GP as a family doctor. And family medicine play a very important part. They are the frontliners. They meet with the patient and say, hey, we can help you to do some changes to your lifestyle. We can help you to be take better control of your high blood pressure, your diabetes, your high cholesterol. We do not wait until the point where you're admitted to the hospital because you have a stroke, because you have a heart attack, because the diabetes has rendered you gangrenous toes, and your toes have your legs have to be chopped off and amputated. So family medicine has now been featured as a big part because of its nature of work, where you meet people at the front line. We don't want too many people to land up in the hospital. So you come and see us, we help you, we work together. And not just with you alone, with your whole family. And I think it's a healthy direction that we are all moving towards. And I am a strong advocate that medical curriculum should not be the end all. It is one curriculum that need to be relevant to the times, to our era. It has to have this relevance. And not only that, the curriculum has to aim for not just teaching knowledge, but it's about teaching them skills, because knowledge becomes obsolete. What I learned from the Harrison's textbook of medicine when I was a medical student, guess what happened? The book has gone through so many editions, so much things. The old book now becomes a collector's item. So many editions, but I have been taught the skills of how to go about to find knowledge. And to me, a medical curriculum that teaches skills and ability to think. A thinker of medicine is better than someone who is a storage of knowledge. A storage of knowledge becomes obsolete, stagnant, rusty. But we are thinker of medicine. We think and we apply, and that's the way.
Wow, that's a really inspiring the things you talk to us. So I think it's time time's up. And thank you, Dr. William, for sharing your own stories and your career, not only your defeat, but those challenges, but also you absorb those challenges to become your personal stories. And again, thank you so much for joining us for this fireside chat sections. And we really appreciate you to spend time talking with us. And also thank you all the delegates for joining. And I hope you guys have a great event for the evening events. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All the very best.